Fighting for the Admiral agenda just makes me sound like I'm pathetic and I'm doing mental gymnastics. Like, I wish I could just blame you guys for not understanding shit, but honestly, I don't even blame you guys anymore. I blame Oda. Because the Admirals don't get no real W's. They do get W's, it's kind of hidden and you have to do some digging and overanalyze scenarios and fights in order to make them look redeemable. The only real W's we got were Admiral on Admiral crime. We had to nearly kill one another and use that to gas one of them. Oda does not make it easy for us, man. Just like how you guys don't make it easy when I ask you guys to hit that subscribe button and like the video. Seriously though, you guys do make it easy. I've been telling you guys this and we got hundreds of subscribers every day, so I appreciate every single one of you guys, and if that's you right now, I fucking love you, man. But yeah, recently, if you guys didn't know, spoiler warning by the way, so click off right now, in Oda hyping up Rocks, he made that boy kill an admiral. He hyped up Rocks Beck at the expense of the Admiral agenda. This is nothing new with Oda, but with this time, it hurt a little bit more. I gotta pull up the chapter real quick because I need to say this verbatim because when I read it the first time, I couldn't believe what I was reading. Rocks had taken down a Navy admiral just moments before clashing with Harold. Despite all efforts to save him, the admiral did not survive. Why this in particular stung a bit more? Because it made it seem like killing an admiral was some side quest to Harold. This man was running around the Holy Land like everything was jolly, clashing with Harold, fucking around. He was in Imu's chambers talking shit. Oh yeah, and while he was doing this, he just packed up an admiral, by the way. Oda wanted this one to sting a bit more because who really dies from their wounds in One Piece? Oda is just really trying to tell us he fucked them up that bad. Literally, that's the message. He was on a stretcher, gasping for air. As the doctors tried to resuscitate him, nothing was happening. The boy bled out. The boy couldn't breathe. Was this necessary, Oda? I don't think so, man. I'm thinking about other people on life support in One Piece, like Aokiji, for example. Or he should have been. He fought a magma man who has the ability to disintegrate your limbs on contact. He left burnt scars all over your body. He took your leg, Aokiji, and had to have left you in critical condition. The doctors are able to salvage Aokiji, a man who's been fighting for 10 days, who's suffering from malnourishment, so many shit. He's bleeding out like crazy. And they didn't let him die. Guys like Kinemon got dismantled by Kaido on the rooftop, then he literally got dismantled by Kaido again. A man like Kinemon is eating a Thunder Bagua and getting his body split. Like, bro, who is this guy? I don't give a fuck about Lot's Devil Fruit or nothing. Like, he's in front of Kaido, a guy that scales 1,000,000 times above him. But Kinemon didn't die from his wounds. I say this to just say, Oda man, we get it. Rocks fucked up this man good. Because there's plenty of people who should be dying from their wounds as well. But the Admiral agenda is your punching bag. You use these guys to make other characters look good. You use the Admiral's name to hype up Rocks, like you did with Greenbow to hype up Shanks. Now everyone views Greenbow as a bitch ass. Everyone looks at Greenbow as a lesser admiral, including me, I'm not gonna lie. Everyone looks at Fujitora as a lesser because the guy is passive as fuck and doesn't really assert no authority. The man goes back and forth with commanders, just looking goofy. Kizaru isn't really viewed as a lesser admiral, but the man goes to Egghead, gets his brains blown out, gets up, and becomes pizza dough with his goofy Gorosei Matrix leader beside him, St. J. Garcia Saturn. Like, what? Having an admiral and a Gorosei get manhandled by a Yonko simultaneously, people are not gonna give a fuck what the circumstances are. That's just crazy to them. Aokiji don't really look that bad, but at the same time though, he's jumping out old Garp with his crew members, and it doesn't even look like Aokiji has the upper hand against him. I remember Aokiji's face getting grabbed and ragdolled. But hey guys, it's okay because Oda gives a way out to these admirals so that he can try and have them save face and give them a reason to not really look the best. But that gimmick isn't working no more. The more and more the admirals get violated, the more the masses stop giving a fuck about the context. We know the admirals can't go all out in the Holy Land, right? So it's safe to assume that the admiral fighting Rocks probably wasn't going his hardest, and Rocks probably made him pay for that. He cooked him because the guy wasn't going his hardest against Rocks off the get. Obviously Rocks would have won regardless because he's Rocks, but he probably killed him because of that reason. It's a pretty logical assumption, right? Well, unfortunately, since it's not something that's stated, people are gonna feel uncomfortable giving the admiral the benefit of the doubt. Because why should they? Because people don't believe in admirals to begin with. Greenbow was twerking for Shanks. Put his hands up, you're under arrest type shit, something like that. Shanks snuck Greenbow while he was trying to pursue another Yonko. Greenbow giving up and fleeing is 100% valid. He even said he's not ready to fight them yet. Talking about the entire crew, not just Shanks. But all everyone remembers is how shameless he looked, even though that reaction shouldn't really speak on his strength, because that will startle anybody, because you're literally in a situation where you're about to get fucking jumped, and if you stay here, you're about to get cooked. Fujitora and Dressrosa goes back and forth with Sabo because he doesn't want to interfere with Luffy and he needs an excuse. This has the masses thinking Sabo can fight Fujitora and give him real problems. It doesn't help either when we see him going back and forth with his inferior subordinates in the Holy Land. But again, he couldn't go all out because it's the Holy Land, so he has excuses for those 2 interactions. But you think people really give a fuck? Now Fujitora gives off aura that isn't really respected in terms of strength, let's be honest. Y'all probably have him 1 tier below other admirals, Kizaru and Aokiji. These guys' situation, it's a bit more annoying because in 2 major battles that we seen them in, they both were holding back. Marineford, we're all aware of that one, but the one that makes them less respected were Egghead and Hachinosu. Kizaru was mentally conflicted that entire arc, having to kill Vegapunk, Sentomaru, and Bonnie. The man didn't want to fight. The man was so helpless he ended up even feeding Luffy so that he can later kick his ass some more. Even if that wasn't holding him back, Oda already made sure that Kizaru can't damage the island and the Mother Flame, so he couldn't even go all out to begin with. Aokiji was in a similar situation. The man was mentally conflicted fighting Garp, which held him back, so he was getting his face smashed in, while also having the help from the Blackbeard pirates just to put down a man who should be weaker than Aokiji to begin with. So these 2 guys just been on screen not being able to fight at 100%, just getting violated every time we see them. Oda already tarnished their names to the eyes of the casual reader, but one man he doesn't play with is Akainu. He's the Admiral's prized possession and our final hope of the Admiral agenda. He's Oda's GOAT clearly. Oda glazes Akainu even outside the story. The man said he could find the One Piece in 1 year and end the show in 1 year if this guy was the main character. The man has a 5 billion berry bounty. We seen Kong recently in the manga and it just baffles my mind knowing under Akainu's leadership, the Navy is the greatest it has ever been. People want to call him a desk warrior and him and Dragon have desk wars, but forget that he actually steps with aggression and he actually has feats. He's the man that fought Whitebeard primarily and blew a chunk of his head off. The man who killed Ace. The man who stood solo against the Whitebeard pirates. The man who took Aokiji's leg and made him join the ops. The man who left a permanent scar on Luffy's chest. The list goes on. Akainu's being saved by Oda for a pivotal moment. I think it's to fight Luffy, and that's pretty obvious, but you have some Sabo enthusiasts saying that somehow makes more sense. I made a video on that, by the way. But all in all, Akainu is holding the Admiral's name on his back. Garp's not even an Admiral, and his name is even being thrown in some heat regarding politics and shit. I even heard his name being brung up in like real world conversations. Garp was being called a Zionist for like 3 days on Twitter or some shit. But yeah, the only name Oda didn't play with and only been hyping up is Akainu. The legacy he leaves when it's all said and done can do reversible damage that's been accumulated over the years. Save the Soul Society Akainu. Save the Admiral agenda, please. But yeah guys, that's obviously it. This isn't me saying the admirals are weaker now and it's changing how I view them. It's just I hate the way they're portrayed and then they never really get a good spotlight. So that's all I really want to say. Leave a like guys, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.